our audience, that might begin to be a large one. Shall we offer Darren the floor first? Or, yes. Darren's kind enough to drop in, just tell us about anything he's got to report locally. Darren, would you like to report? Thank you.
Yeah, I was in May, wasn't I? Was it May, June? I can't remember. So they say so many different meetings.
This year, anyway.
Yeah, probably this year. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Overall, yeah, in terms of the rural, it's at its moment. There's been a sort of couple of sort of shed breaks, not out here, but in the sort of rural areas, sort of shed breaks and a couple of barns and stuff. So it's a case just putting a reminder out to people, like with outbuildings and that, to secure items, keep an eye out for anything suspicious, because it's obviously been around Malvern, and there was a break, and managed to get details of a sus vehicle, but then it was also linked to one in Wittersham, so it shows you how they're sort of coming about. We had, in terms of no role in Melbourne, but obviously for shops, burglary at the shop, we managed to identify a vehicle and a couple of arrests were made, so we're just waiting on the outcome. I think there's been results in Sussex, but we're still waiting on a couple of things for our Kent job, so that could be a few weeks before we get anything on that. Generally in Wittersham, I've looked up for our calls to the police. From 1st of June to today, you've had 20 calls in the area, and that's a varying calls, a couple of just it's all like domestics and stuff like that. We got a call about an aircraft coming down. Was you aware of that? Yeah, we got a call. I think it's just let us know, but I think it was all in all, it was just an engine failure or something. So it didn't cause a big...
Where did it come down?
It was over towards Chapel Down,
Right.
near Small Hythe. I told Alan it was the new Small Hythe International Airport. It was testing out the runway. It was there for about 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, apparently it was like they just let us know because it was engine failure, because I think if somebody sees it, probably calls it in. It didn't result in a big presence of police. A few years ago I went to one over in Chollock, a plane come down in the field, and it was literally over the hill.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the bearings and all that. The main one we had, there was probably a little bit of police presence off and on, was a domestic issue in Jubilee Fields. It was just a case of a lot of calls coming into, I think, from the person who's basically an ex was causing some problems. Managed to get hold of him, I didn't, but he got Sussex Patrol got hold of him from his relatives. As far as I know, he was sort of remanded to court, to prison for a number of matters, including that. So it was a kind of isolated incident to attend to them, but of course unfortunately it involved a couple of moments of criminal damage. So of course when somebody looks it up, they suddenly go, there's been a bit of criminal damage, but it wasn't like kids going up the street. It was actually sort of isolated to a domestic related type incident. So but of course it impacts your crime for the area for that sort of quarter. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, things have been sort of pretty good. There's not been many calls to the catapult, but not saying it hasn't happened, just obviously people don't call it in. And yeah, just remind people of the role of the crimes. And obviously, yeah, yesterday I had that drink driver who decided to roll it on a bend. So it's all rolling in way, but it's still just a little bit of what I'm sort of doing. But apart from that, nothing was raised really last week, was it? There was coffee and wine. I think about a couple of ball bearings were handed over, but apart from that, nothing of note, just a general chat really.
Do you count Tenterden town within your...
Yeah.
Because one reads a lot these days about the manner in which these Turkish gangs are infiltrating and setting up barber's shop and corner shops and smuggling drugs, and I've heard from friends who know a lot about what goes on in Rye that they are buying up a lot of the retail premises that come on the market, possibly even the Globe pub now, and everybody seems to know that a lot of these are cover for illicit activities.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always sort of a sign, isn't it? There always seems to be suspicions. I do liaise with, a couple of weeks ago I went out with our licensing officer, so he covers like pubs and stuff like that, and we have trading standards, and we visited about 4 or 5 places, which 1 or 2 of them are new, like there's one in Tenton, the Premier, and there's like one or shops like that. We visited sort of places just to sort of check that they had the relevant sort of signs for over 21, over 25, got their licensing things up, and just have a look who's sort of working there. But obviously, there's any suspicions of things like that. There's like trade standards, immigration. Obviously, I know immigration sometimes will let us know if they're going somewhere. They won't necessarily need us, they're just going there because obviously there's immigration stuff every so often. There might be a joint op. So if there is any suspicions, because the visit I did some of the shops was just a case of saying, look, we've got this new shop. Can we just go and have a visit? Just see if there's anything. Nothing major come out of them. A couple of minor little things. Somebody didn't have their full licensing thing. Was able to check like the CCTV as part of their condition. So of course, when it comes to it, it's something they can look at if they need to. So it's quite a sort of a good thing. But yeah, we are sort of aware of it. But like any sort of places like that, barbers and stuff like that, it does sort of raise suspicions. It's just a case of seeing what comes in. But if anything, is reporting something. I mean, one of the visits I did to a shop was just as a result of speaking to a neighbour or something about something completely different, and he just mentioned something, and it was just a case of, look, can we go and pay a visit? It may be something, it may be nothing. It's just sometimes people act in a certain way, they don't see how it looks to the general public if they were doing something. So yeah, we do it, but of course, obviously, it's keeping an eye out if there's regular people coming and going, because obviously there could be people working in places that have got no permission to work at the moment and stuff like that. So
there's no suspicion that any of the local providers, for example in Tenterden, are actively involved in the sort of reprehensible activities that we're led to believe on the news?
No, nothing at the moment, no.
There's no suspicion.
No, at the moment. But it doesn't hurt to check these places every so often just to see.
Who checks them? You?
We can go in. I mean, obviously, like the things like some of the places, there is trading standards, so they're making sure like they're working within their confines of the licence. Our licensing, because obviously the licensing officer does pubs, but we also can do like shops that sell alcohol, so they can look at things like that. And then there's obviously like if there's a suspicion of people, so it's us. Yeah, we go in. You can go in. I mean, I can just go in and do a check and stuff like that.
I have my hair cut not very often, but I do go and have it cut at a local outlet. I won't say where, but I do. And I was told quite clearly today, by somebody whose view I respect to a good degree, that I shouldn't do that because don't you realise they're all heavily involved in that type of crime, and it's really quite wrong that you should actually do anything that bolsters their existence.
But gives a good haircut.
Perfectly
But yeah,
happy
I think that's the thing. I think it's like a lot of, I've heard people talk about like car washes and that. Some of these car washes have been around like for years. But I think it's a couple of stories recently I've seen like in the news of like people checking out car parks and that, like where it's either been a field and it's also like, is it a genuine car park? What's happening to the money and stuff like that? But yeah, there is obviously people have their suspicions about something. It doesn't mean they are, but I think it's just people get that vision, don't they? Of, it's a Turkish bar, or it's this and it's that, and it's all sort of illegal. But it's like some of the shops, isn't it? They sell genuine goods, but you see like trading standards then go and find stuff hidden behind somewhere. So the shop does sell legitimate stuff, but it's also got
under the counter
stuff. Yeah. So it's obviously like the places selling sort of stuff like that. So it's just about keeping an eye on it. We do get reports, calls to the police. We do get intel reports that say about somewhere. We're going to go and check it out, or we can just say, look, we want to go. But instead of like me going and then somebody else going, we try and say, look, can we do it all together? Because then if, you say we do a shop and there's drugs, it becomes something for us. But if it's contraband type stuff, trading standards and that take it on and they deal with those sides of it. So it's normally best a multi-agency, because we don't want to get like them calling us saying, oh, we've got this. So you go in with a sort of like, multi-agency approach. So that's something we do. But nothing varying. I think it's just people see it turn up, don't they?
Okay, anything else for Darren? No?
That's great.
Thank you so much for
Thank
dropping
you.
in and for keeping things in order in this part of the world.
Yeah. Do you know what's happening? Do you know who's responsible for the pub at the moment? Because I noticed there's 4 or 5 vehicles in there which.
For the pub?
Yeah, it's not taxed.
Yeah, no, they aren't taxed, and
I know where they've come from.
they go on the back of trailers and they go to Eastern Europe, or that's the source of my information.
Right. Yeah, no, because 2 or 3 of them I recognise from being parked up somewhere else, not in this village, somewhere else. And it's kind of still obviously linked, but it's like, I don't know quite how they ended up here when the person who sort of has them, because they have been off and on for sale places, they're now in this car park. Obviously moved the problem away, but it's like, have they got permission to be there? And
I think the landlord has an arrangement with somebody.
right,
Yeah.
He's
the
been
landlord is down at the Cricketers, as you probably know,
right,
Kevin,
right.
who owns that
Gillespie.
pub as well. Have a word with him. I mean, he's talked openly to me about it in the past.
That's why, because there's a couple of landowners, one like no number plate now, and it's just, I recognise them as being vehicles in places which have had no tax off and on, and it's like, if he's got permission to be there, then technically it's one of those ones where they're not on the road, where they've been before, there's been a lot of issues like parked on the road, parked on the path, but if it's got permission to be there, it's kind of, it just means that it's off, stop the problem down it somewhere else, but
I think that's very interesting indeed. That
he knows his way around.
Puts a dimension on it, and what have you. And I'm sure they'd never leave, apart from on the back of a transporter.
Yeah.
They don't look like people are, but I love. No, it's good because I could say, because obviously I can take them, but there's nothing. The problem is there's nothing to stop them bringing, claiming them back, and then they can sit there again. But if it's like permission to be there, then it's cause some of the cars park on the road, like around Jubilee Field.
Yes.
A couple of vehicles were raised as no tax. So I've reported them to the DVLA. I could take them if I need to, but they're kind of on the road. They're on a parking space, so they're kind of not really affecting main roads.
No.
But they're still been there for a while. So I've let DVA know to sort of come, so I can always take them. But with the pub, it's like it's not open, so it's out of the way. But what you don't want is more and more vehicles going there and stuff, and it's.
No, I think they're passing through most of it.
Cool. Okay, I'll have to go down to the pub and sort of see him and see what he says.
Yeah.
So we talk about the Cricketers, what? Down
The Cricketers on the way into Rye.
Yes.
Just before the roundabout on the left.
Yeah. I'll have to pop in there and see him.
I'm sure I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
Darren, we'll see you again in due course.
Yes. Yeah. No worries.
Thanks. Okay, we now move into the meeting proper agenda. We've got 2 apologies for absence.
Councillors Splash and Sykes, their families leaving. Yes.
Thank you.
Fine. Bye, Darren.
Okay.
So is that, are we happy with that?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
No declarations of interests.
The only thing which was
request.
barely a declaration, but other is as much as we want it to be, is my involvement in encouraging Glenn Thorne to do the workforce on the cemetery, because I do know him and he's a neighbour.
Indeed. And remind
Which is unpaid, of
councillors
course.
that this meeting is being recorded. No one else can mind. Okay, that's the end of the public session. Now, item 3, confirming the minutes of the 9th June. I've read through them. There are a couple of things, not corrections, but that I'd like a bit further information on. And that is the mention of the fact that people have spoken to the owner of the house next to the windmill, who's in negotiation. Is that he's negotiating to buy the windmill? Or?
This is Larry.
Larry Ward.
He was.
Alan and I, we both spoke to him.
Oh, you did?
Yes, but
Yeah.
Alan will.
So Larry, I think, was approached by the KCC saying we'd like to sell the windmill back to you for £10 because we don't want it anymore, having bought it from the Langtons in 1978 for £10. Larry has said, theoretically, yes, but I'm not wishing to spend £100,000 that it would at least cost to restore it.
Mm.
Secondly, I couldn't possibly begin to want to afford the liability, public liability insurance. Therefore, it won't be open to the public by taking it back, which was a condition of the sale. So I mean, they're not realistically really thinking. And I mean, I think Larry and I agree the most likely outcome would be that KCC wouldn't pay for anything, would insist on public opening, and therefore the deal wouldn't proceed. That's I think was.
Yes, Wayne was here at the last meeting, and he went out and spoke to the KCC officers and came back, gave us their name, which I passed on to Larry because he said that they would talk to him about it more. Because he said that he was already dealing directly with them. So that's why it wasn't really down to us to say anything, because it's not like some of the other windmills. It's because it's within private land.
Yes. Yeah.
So it makes it slightly different.
Sure. Okay, so we await further updates.
Yes, I haven't heard any more either.
And the other thing was that our SID stuff was being repaired. Has that come back?
That'll come up on you later.
Okay. Sports club lease update. Do you want me to sign? Yeah.
Can I just suggest
Sorry,
that we, where it
true?
says exactly that, sports club lease updated, is believed that I think it probably should have draft before lease, because this implies it's a final, which it isn't.
Yes, good point. Otherwise, everybody happy with the contents?
So if you could initial that, please. In the bottom. With that one. And then in the gap, please.
Sign.
Yes, please, and date.
40. Thank you very much. Okay. Item A, the sports club lease update. Well, we do know that the draft is now with the sports club for comment, and they will no doubt be working on that at the moment. So we do have connections there, so we can keep abreast.
Has anyone spoken to them since Merlin's funeral? I spoke to them at Merlin's funeral to Stuart, and he said they'd done everything and it was back with John Mallett's party. So I got the impression that they don't feel there's anything they need to do. They're waiting to hear. Of course, it might well have come back since then.
Quite.
But certainly, this AGM is next week on Thursday at 6:30, and certainly the intention will be to, if Willie Everett shows his face there, I'll be asking the question. And I think they all owe it to not just us but to the village of where exactly this is, because it seems to just go backwards and forwards year after year after year.
I mean, this is such a common story of the sports club waiting now. They've done everything. I must have heard that 20 or 30 times in the last 15 years. So I think there's a lack of proactivity.
Well, Willie Everett in the room next door said 6 months ago or so that it would all be finished by July of
But he
this
said
year.
that in 1978.
No, I know that, but I wasn't around then.
That was July 1978.
I was just after the Saxons invaded. But I just think it's, because I don't know about the rest of councillors, but I'm often asked the question, what's happening? And you know what the subtext is? What are you doing about it, the council? And I'm getting a bit fed up with it, frankly.
Well, but I mean, I've been fed up with it for 15 years.
Well,
But you know, I don't know.
say we are monitoring it, progress without actually interfering, although as a trustee of the new lease, I will be kept pretty fully informed about what's going on.
Wait and see.
Okay, land fronting, the church, brick path, we have to make a decision tonight, I think. Is that right, Yvonne?
That's what the PCC have asked us to do, in effect.
Right.
They've said, well, tell us what the parish council will decide or is about to decide, and then we can take our side of it further forward.
Right. Okay, we have the three options, which Yvonne has kindly provided us with on a number of occasions. One is the stopping order, which effectively the land will then revert to the parish council at the end of the second is to have the tree removed, and the third is for KCC to act on their own initiative and flexi-pave the path, which I don't think any of us particularly fancy as an option. But
even if we go for option 1, we still, because we know there is risk there, we would still have to choose between option 2 and 3 for the future, or an alternative if someone can come up with one, which at the moment they can't.
Well, we could possibly diminish the risk with signage, for instance. You know,
Right.
I mean, it is.
I've got little sort of, you know, I remember years ago in parks, a lot of old trees used to have sort of iron railings around them, and I think that I got the sense from the PCC they don't want the tree cut down and finished with.
I think there's that, and I think that I take Sally's point, but my own perspective of knowing the village a little bit is that KCC are much more likely to make a blunderbuss decision, which is going to be unpopular with anybody, whereas the parish council, I think, can be prevailed upon to make, within possibly item 2, or routes or something, and is much more likely to make an acceptable decision that's acceptable to the church, to the village, to the parish council, and to any other observers. I think there's minimal chance of the KCC making that type of popular decision.
KCC are probably going to do the cheapest option.
Yeah, and I think the church would be worked up. The PCC would get very worked up if we threw it back at KCC and said do what you like. I don't think that's going to be a popular option at PCC level.
We had a discussion, Sally, but it may be when you weren't here. I can't remember which month was which. We talked about, some time ago, we talked about chopping off the highest roots from the tree. And there was that won't be possible. But I think you, Alan, since spoke to, or Yvonne spoke to one of the arborealists who said it's not a problem.
I agree.
And you know, these roots are going many feet down underground, even if they do have ones just under a brick. So the possibility is to lift some bricks, take out top roots, pack it back with sand, put the bricks back. If the worst comes to the worst in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you do it again.
Exactly.
But you can now. You, Yvonne, mentioned at that time, I think, that one of the problems is that while we've got a problem with the tree roots here, which is what KCC puts all of their weight on and says, well, we're not doing anything until the tree's gone, which is just a good way of saying, no, we're not going to do anything because we know you don't want to take the tree away. If we take it over, there is the rest of the path to do as well, unfortunately. And obviously that's fullness of time. The difficulty is that we can't do our simple solution where the tree is unless we take it over from KCC, because they are taking the opportunity to say, just because they don't want to do it, no, you can't. We are insisting on doing red asphalt because we know you don't want that. I mean, it's just a sort of a Mexican standoff.
So now I've got a proposal really, and that is that we do, despite the risks which are apparent to us all, as the responsible organisation representing the village, I would propose that we agree to take it over, and then in discussion with all the other necessary parties, choose the best option.
I would support that.
I think we need to get it under our own control.
Yep.
It's actually rather a beautiful asset of the village, that path, and we're the ones who know that and want it to remain so.
I have one question which might be related, which is that whole area, does us taking over the path give us the opportunity to manage that whole area in the future, which is slowly decaying and at some stage, probably way beyond our time, needs to be resurfaced and parking spaces marked out, including a disabled parking space?
I think it probably, we don't want too many white lines and stuff, but you know,
whatever colour you like.
I think we want to. I mean, it would be nice to just sustain the ancient feel of it.
Yes.
Because that's where you used to come along with your horse and cart and do, you know, and you would deposit it at the church for the Sunday service and so on. And I mean, you know, for 700 years.
No, actually, it's where little Johnny went to school, as we have discovered.
Yes.
Yeah.
But be that as it may,
Yeah.
I take the point that Paul makes. We were always interested in the no man's land. That's where it all started. And I do maybe just float the idea that to turn the screw back on KCC, we do at least say to KCC, if this is the way we decide to go, yes, we're willing to take over the path from a stopping up order. That stopping up order means you will stop up the highway. You will then make sure that it falls into our ownership, assuming that it's either theirs or, you know, all the highway rules apply. And it does depend us taking it over that they then do everything in their power to make sure we get the other bits. Because we don't know really who owns that.
This is it. At the moment, we've already said we are interested in taking over no man's land.
No.
But until we know
Yeah.
whether we need the stopping up order,
Mm.
but until we've found out whether that still is KCC's bit that they've got to do, it's with them at the moment. We're waiting to hear on that.
Stopping
Which
up
could
order
take
of the no
ages.
man's land,
No
not
man's
the red
land.
path.
No, so then it would be separate to take on the path. The path would be the whole of it, all the white bit that
Yeah.
goes behind all the cottages as well. So it would mean taking over the whole lot.
So we'll then be
Whether it's going to be quicker because it'd just be a straight, we want to do that, I don't know. Because at the moment the other one is investigating no man's land. If highways are saying it's definitely theirs, the path, it should be quicker.
I think we just go for it and then
If we
register
go
our
for the,
ownership at the land registry and
if we go
give
for the
the
stopping
option.
up order though, what's the process for that? We write to KCC,
Well, as a form,
Yeah.
I think it's a process.
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
as soon as we declare that we want to go for, does that mean then the responsibility comes to us, or does it stay with KCC until we've actually
No, I
signed
don't
over
know.
a piece of
I would
land?
think it would have to be until it became ours. It would still have to
Right.
be.
And if there was an
Right.
accident now and somebody wanted to sue, they'd sue KCC.
Mm.
It can't be ours until they've done the stopping up.
Yes.
Mm.
Alf has actually weed killed, so it should stay clear
That's good.
for a while. He's
Mm.
done that
Mm.
because I did ask him to keep an eye on it.
Sure.
So in effect, there's about a laundry list of 4 or 5 things. We're willing to accept the stopping up order, if of course they wish to do the stopping up order, that's in
Well-
their powers. But we would only do that providing they decide that if they need to do a stopping up order on no man's land, because we don't know if they do it. Because they are always, do we own it, do we not, you know, they've never quite decided. I mean, we think that they have to do a stopping up order because they did one before,
Yes.
but we don't actually think they were right.
I think there's a danger in making it too complicated.
Yes.
But we want to make sure that they don't
But we never
keep
go.
half the job.
I suspect if we try and make sure and get every T and every I dotted, we'll be still sitting here in another 15 years.
That
waiting
could be
to do it.
Aaron, that could be, but what we don't want to be is off of one bank of the river and not on the other bank.
I think there's a risk in what we do. I'm proposing that we take the risk, that is to get the parish council to own the brick path and then actually hope that the other things fall into place legally thereafter.
But that's where I think we get stuck.
And well, I don't think we will, but there
They
are.
have no impetus to do it. They'd love to get rid of the brick path, the rest they don't give a stuff about.
I think then we could put up a good argument for gaining possession of that as well, but I think we have to trust that to the faith of the
There
future.
won't even be KCC by then.
I'm going to say, by
that's another
after
aspect.
tomorrow, they probably won't have to do anything.
The highways manager has made it very clear in his email that there are 3 options. And so our choice is either we go with one of the options or none of them at all. And personally, I would propose that we go with option 1.
So are we all happy to go with option?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what my anxiety is? I think we have to go for option 1, given our certain conditions. And now, obviously I'm only one. If everyone else is happy to just get on with it, fingers and toes crossed, that's how it is.
I
Well,
think
why
we'll have-
don't we go with the conditions, with Jeremy's conditions, and if they then come back and say, we'll just go for the stopping up of the path.
I think that clouds the whole issue.
I do too.
Right.
I think we should go with option 1. The ball's in their court then to sort the paperwork out. They would get the paperwork back to us in a draft form and we would have a look at it and then if we think it's fit for purpose, we sign it. If we think we want to add stuff, we can add it in. But at the moment, if I was Jamie Cunningham, I'd be saying, look guys, I've given you 3 options here. Which one do you want? Make your minds up. You know, don't complain to us that we've been delaying because the ball's in your court, Wittersham Parish Council.
Well, you're paying for the goods before they agree to give you the goods.
I think we'll get the brick path, which is on its own an important issue. I think because of its the heritage nature of it and its brick path and so on. I think the others. I think there's a very reasonable chance it will all just fit into place nicely as a couple of years go by. That's what I think.
Okay.
And I'm prepared to do some work on that.
And let's get it done before KCC is no longer in existence.
And I think we keep it simple at this point.
Yeah. Okay, that's the view of the council. If you can proceed on that basis, then
Yes.
Yvonne, thank you. HIP update, there's nothing, it's all been
yes, as you're aware, at the last meeting, Councillor Chapman hadn't heard from the team, sent him the email, it actually did have it, and he obviously hadn't fully understood what we were getting at, which you will have seen. All they've come back with is suggesting that we go for this 30-mile-per-hour toolkit instead, which I printed out the sort of what
stickers on the
yes,
bins, isn't it? And things like that.
yes, car stickers, bin stickers, road banners, which I'm not sure in Swan Street is actually applicable, because not many people leave their bins out in the road for people to see, to be reminded it's a 30 mile per hour.
No, this is a sort of Stanhope solution to a Wittersham problem.
Yeah. So
Any
it looks like we're
enthusiasm for that?
stuck otherwise.
I don't see any real benefit in that. I'm sure they'll charge us for it.
Free.
Is it? Oh gosh. I don't think that's necessary for Swan Street. I think this whole issue is, and I think Wayne, my understanding is something wrong in the stick about putting. We wanted a crossing there, which we didn't.
We never did.
We never did.
Yeah.
And I drove past it tonight, and it's a bit of a pain having that big pole where it is. If it hadn't been put there, we wouldn't have this problem. We'd just make a path. And part of me thought, well, maybe we'll just make the pathway anyhow, and people can walk around the pole.
Well, that's what people do
Well, that's
already.
what
They
we
don't
consider
walk through
it.
it.
Exactly, but it means they don't have to walk on the grass bank, which is bone dry at the moment, but is all wet and muddy.
But it's not our land, that's the trouble.
Whose land is it?
It's Casey's, well, I reckon it's theirs.
How far?
Well,
It's highway land.
It's highway, and if you're doing
Whether
it
they
on
own
a
it or
highway,
not
they
is
wouldn't-
different.
You couldn't do it. Full stop. I'm afraid.
So,
Well, we've told them often
Yes,
enough.
yes,
If someone
yes.
does have an accident, then we'll be able to say, we told you so. Be sad though.
yeah. So, that is that. Lloyd's Green parking update.
Right, their community engagement is this Friday,
Yeah.
between 3 p.m. and 5. So I checked that it was still on, and it is. And some residents, don't know whether all of them have, but certainly one person has had a phone call from them to ask what they thought. They're suggesting that they have ice cream and drinks and games to play, and having plants to either plant out at front or in their own garden, and having chairs for people to sit on and have a chat. So I said I would come, and so she suggested that I bring my garden chair, because there would be tables that we can sit and chat and have.
So it's a
I'd
shrubs
quite
and
like to see them try to plant plants in Lloyd's Green at the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Are they bringing a digger or something?
Pickaxe.
Are they trying to sweeten the pill of putting these fences up there?
No, the fence is...
The fence
That's
is
dead.
gone.
That's dead now.
That's dead, yes, because
They
they
save
didn't
the
want
money
that.
on that.
Yeah.
But parking lines, because they were going to do it, but I pointed out that if they put lines, they're going to reduce the parking spaces actually. So I'm hoping that that's what people will say. I did suggest that perhaps Friday afternoon wasn't a good time, 3 o'clock, when people are at work and picking kids up, but apparently that's what the residents asked for.
Right.
Was a meeting at 3
Well, I
o'clock.
think it's a great idea. Bring chairs, ice creams,
Yes, ice
everyone
cream.
gets on, has a nice chat and what have you, and then if nothing happens in the future, at least the council can say, well, we did our best and we bought 3 ice creams and we all had a chat and what have you. And there's no animosity. I think that's quite a clever way of engaging.
I think they've got a community engagement budget looking to be spent.
By a certain time. so yeah.
So, yes,
So it won't just be
I
livid.
said I will be there because
Yeah,
I'm
good plan.
involved with anybody else would like to.
I think you should go and get first dibs on the ice cream.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come on, and take Alf with you. Keep him sweet.
It's not, he doesn't work on a Friday.
Like, well, for a free ice cream, he
He
might.
probably would, yeah.
99s
Okay.
are going to be 99p if Count Binface wins.
So, yeah, so that's the
Fine,
update.
it will be interesting to hear the outcome.
Mm.
Cemetery exemption update is coming right at the end of the meeting in closed session. Planning application. This is the lovely house.
Does that include the matters you asked me to look into?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
anything that involves
Okay.
so we know all about this and we've been supportive of the application previously, and it's all, the latest application has all been agreed with the listed buildings planning officer, I think. So we feel it's beyond our competence, if you like. So we like. What
We
do
support
we
it.
need to report when we say it's beyond our competence? We
So
said
that's
that
what
before.
we said before, that we're not experts on the listed building
Yes.
inside. And it's not outside, so it's not something that we
It's not
will
street view.
be able to see.
I mean, the problem is this type of shenanigan just encourages people who own a listed building to do their internal operations without telling anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The problem arises when they come to sell it, which is what happened down
Yep.
by the school. When
Sure.
they made the alterations, went to sell it, and this came up and
That's
they
right.
found out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's when they come with it.
Except that I do know a number of houses which have had really very extensive internal alterations and haven't had any difficulty in selling.
Yet.
Well, no, when you
But the documentation for a sale has
there's
changed significantly over the last couple of years, and a lot of it has to be declared now, and people are finding a problem.
Except, I mean, well, Palstray Court's a classic example. It was all little corridors and little rooms.
Yeah.
It's all been swept aside, and it's now much bigger, smarter, nicer rooms. And it's been sold, I think, twice since.
Mm.
But they did apply for.
It was,
They
and
were-
it got lost in the system. It
Yeah.
never actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was in the system, so
You are asked as a vendor
Yes.
by the other side solicitors, and have you made any alterations, internal or external?
And the answer to that question is always innocence.
Well,
I can't remember.
I can't really
I
claim-
can't
claim-
remember,
Good luck.
or I have no idea. That's the only answer that's safe.
well, you wait till your turn comes up.
The
it
vendor
won't
will,
be Alan's
the
problem.
vendor will no doubt make his own inquiries.
Or to be executive.
I mean, the
I've made clear to everybody I know that if you ever ask this question, you don't know.
Okay.
He never told us anything, Your Honour.
Item 6, a new IT policy.
Yeah.
For sourcing that.
We've got the things that need to be filled in at the top, which obviously
Yeah.
the clerk will do. On the actual policy itself, number 6, personal devices, and number 9, data protection, both of them, I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't pass the policy, but I, at least, and probably everyone else except
Me
the clerk,
too.
all need to get permission under 6 and the system authorised under 9. Otherwise we can't carry on.
And actually, I do share my personal devices with another.
You
Not
share
that he
what?
accesses my emails, but I do share the device.
Dodgy.
But it just has to be authorised, that's all. And we need permission for in my case anyway, storing council documents in the personal cloud accounts. Otherwise I can't have any.
They say users must ensure
I
personal
mean, it gives the
devices
opportunity.
are protected by a strong password. Okay, well,
It's down at the
People
bottom.
are kept up to date and not shared with unauthorised
Yeah.
users.
Personal devices, it's the last line. Do not store council documents in personal cloud accounts unless expressly authorised. So I need express authorisation, and probably other people do as well.
Well, we can
And-
organise a blanket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that as
Dispensation on
well.
all
No, it
matters.
says expressly.
No, we can order an
Yeah,
express.
okay. And, all right, an express order.
It's-
And then unauthorised systems in 9 is the same. The system needs to be authorised. Council information must be copied, downloaded or transferred to unauthorised systems. Well, my system has to be authorised then.
By
Otherwise,
whom?
the council.
Well, that's fine. We can all
Well, shall
vote for
we?
Christmas.
Should we minute that?
Yeah.
Yes, should we minute that we
Well,
do?
I mean, it should be going to past conversations that everyone should be using the appropriate cyber protection passwords. I mean, the standard procedure, and you should make sure your software's up to date.
That's all there, but
You know,
these other parts
yeah.
actually.
No, and it's
still
what
come
I'm
in
saying.
there.
So the bit that we have to get organised is just to say, as a council, when we can have a proposal, second it and a vote, that we authorise councillors to be able to use their private devices, and all private devices need to be used in accordance with the parish council IT policy.
And that they use the iCloud or whichever cloud they use.
Yeah, or hard devices. Hard drives.
Yeah, I
Excellent
know.
hard drives.
You're right,
Yeah,
Paul,
so
but
we just cover all that.
you're right, but it explicitly says cloud. That's all I'm saying. I'm just being specific with what the procedure is. It says you can't do these two things unless you're explicitly authorised. So I and probably others need to be explicitly authorised. That's all it is. It's not difficult, but it's got to be done.
The only thing I would say is that my existence seems to be now password protected. I need a password to get out of bed in the morning, a password to go to bed in the morning, and a password to have breakfast.
You go to bed in the morning?
Where do you write your passwords down?
I don't. I think
That's fatal.
I'm
Back of his
an
hand.
optimist. I think I can always remember them all, but I never do.
Potman 1, 2, 3.
So once it's password protected, I can never access it.
That's the beauty
That's
of
all.
Apple, because face recognition, you don't have to remember it.
Yeah.
It's all true.
So do I have a
Proposal. Okay. Yes.
John?
Well, Paul, that we should.
I think that the proposal should be that we authorise elected parish council, current parish councillors to use their devices, their personal devices, for parish council business, the storage of information in the cloud or on hard drives, in accordance with the policy.
Can you let me have those words, please? Because I can't remember.
Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
very much.
I slightly felt that this was addressed to much larger organisations and businesses
As always.
than ourselves, and that's why it's sometimes.
This was Noakes.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
even this, we're talking about sort of great secrets and data protection and things. It's not as if much of our council
One
material
of the reasons for doing it, even for a small organisation, is when or if something goes wrong and there's a breach. We've been through this before. If there's a data breach, you don't have to automatically report it to the ICO if you think it's a minor one, because you're then protected by the policy. But what it does is, if the ICO investigates, Information Commissioner's Office investigates, and you've got a policy and you've done all this, you've had these discussions, you've voted to do this, you've been shown to proceed in good faith. And you're absolutely right, because we're not dealing with hundreds of thousands, etc., that the chances are that we would be looked at very positive, in a positive light. That's why you do it.
Thank you.
That's useful information. There is, of course, mention in the IT policy of the website. Do we feel that our website is currently appropriate, adequate? I mean, short of spending an awful lot of money, obviously, on having
something completely different. Will Hugo Fox cover all the things that we need to do
right.
for a website?
Okay.
And we also manage it, access to it well, in that we can't
No, it's only
update it.
I mean, it is the gov.uk one as well that's gone down on there.
So I think it comes down, this would be my view, the technical things are all right. Yvonne is the only person who's got the access. And Hugo Fox, rightly or wrongly, say that they cover all the accessibility obligations under some regulation or other. As a website, as Yvonne knows, this is my opinion, I think it's really poor. And that is because it's quite a big website, it's grown like Topsy, but that is because Yvonne is not a website designer and she has a very limited amount of time to work on it. So it would only be improved by a bigger change. And although I don't care for it very much, I don't think it's a good website in its own terms. How often do we have any criticism of the website from anyone else except me? Never. So
we did talk about once, sort of updating it.
We did indeed.
Visiting other parishes and seeing what they've got.
We did, and like a lot of these things, it fell on the basis of
Jeremy,
me and Yvonne actually having to go and do
Jeremy,
it.
this is obviously something that is important to you, and I completely
I would
respect
like it
that.
to be done.
I think what you need to do is you need to put forward to the council the improvements that you'd like to see, because we're talking in the abstract at the moment.
You're right.
It serves a purpose. We haven't multiple complaints. It does conform. But if there's something you or any councillor wants to see that's different on there, then let's see a proposal for that.
Yvonne and I did discuss it a bit ago. It came down to, I made inquiries. I came to 2 possible places that we could go and look at to discuss, Yvonne and I, and that is where it rested. We have not gone and done it because
one of
between
those
the
was
parents.
Iden, wasn't it?
Sorry?
One of those was Iden, was it on it?
No.
No? Right.
One was Great Chart, and one was. There were 2 different ones. One used a contractor for sure, down in the West Country, but the question is, and they're a bigger council, so of course they've got more money. But on the other hand, they're then running a bigger affair. You know? And
we mustn't confuse between content and production and delivery. So it's the content, I get the impression that you think the bit's missing. Or
the
just
content,
you don't know by the look of it.
I would say Yvonne has got the content there that she's asked for. The look and feel is poor, and the organisation is poor, because it's grown like Topsy. And any good website, and we are still only a tiny parish, which I should remember, but any good website does actually need really forking over on a regular basis, but regular as in a few
complaints
years.
from the public at
No,
all?
we haven't. I said
Fine,
earlier,
okay.
we've had no complaints.
I think we need to focus on the things that really matter.
And I think a lot of the comments about, oh well, Sam says, well, they'll be talking about something probably 5 times the size of us, who can afford an IT manager and all that sort of stuff.
Well, no, I don't think that.
But as long as the people who log on can find their way. I mean, I've had one person seeking a relative or something or other come through the website to me and worked out. It was Jim, a friend of Jim Knight's father, who's now dead, but he managed to see him before he died, so that was all very satisfactory, and that was through the website, and if it can do that kind of thing, that's okay.
Yeah,
Well, I was
the
asked
minutes
tonight,
go on
I'll
a
say I
regular
don't think
basis, all the financial stuff goes on as soon
Sure.
as we've had the meeting, it all
Okay,
goes on.
Parish Council Clerk handover procedure. I'm very proud to say that I found that in the last line of the first paragraph there seems to be a comma that should
Exactly,
be
I agree. I would go further than that and not only take out the rogue comma, but immediately after financial officer, put in brackets as applicable, because this is assuming that a new incomer would become the proper officer and the financial responsible financial officer, but of course they could be split. Not necessarily would be, but can be. They are 2 distinct jobs, but Yvonne does them both.
Okay.
And this is to do with a handover, so it's to do with not Yvonne, but somebody else.
No. All about the incoming and the outgoing clerk. Which is, all very interesting stuff.
Which, by the way, is good practice. They are, as good practice, they're split. As reality in a small parish, they're very often not.
Right.
Mostly not.
Okay. Everybody happy with the new procedure?
Mhm.
Yep.
Um,
Apart from what we said.
and then we've got the policy for co-opting. Councillors, should co-option be required? Again, anybody got any particular comments on that?
Well, we've done it quite recently, haven't we?
This is just reviewing it.
Yeah.
We have to review it annually.
Well,
Last July.
it worked last time, so it'll probably work next time.
It's good to remind us that there's a cost involved.
Yes.
£3,000 is a lot.
It will be more
Oh,
now.
yes.
That,
Yes.
that was quite an old figure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
mega. That's
In
why it's
calling an
there.
election. Yes. Fine. Safeguarding policy. That's, well...
I've got a couple of things.
Thanks, Sally. What are your things?
Action on elder abuse doesn't exist anymore. It's now called Hourglass.
Sorry, where are we?
I think it was under the contact numbers.
Is that at the end? It's
Yeah.
in contact.
Just
Action
before
on elder abuse.
conclusion.
Right, yeah, go on.
And what's it called now?
It's called Hourglass.
What?
Hour.
Which one are we saying? Is
Action on elder abuse.
Okay.
But to be honest, I don't know why we've got that number there or the NSPCC, because the number we should have there is Kent County Council Social Services, because that's where you report any abuse apart from to the police.
Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you.
And the other thing is, I think it was under training and recruitment and training. My understanding is that you and Alan are our lead safeguarding people. So do you both have up-to-date disclosure and barring services certificates?
Yes, so I mean, every 3 years as church warden you have to go through the full, the full remit of 6 separate sessions of safeguarding training,
But you
as does the safeguarding officer. So although I'm not the safeguarding officer for the church, I have to go through the same training as he or she does. So I've done 5 sessions now, which I have to complete them all by the end of July. I've got the domestic violence one to complete. That one, all the others are on face-to-face, and I've done 5 of those. And the domestic violence one is online, and I've got to complete that on the 31st of June.
That's your training, but do you have a up-to-date DBS certificate?
Yes, yes.
You do?
Yes, we all have to have that as well.
You do?
I have an up-to-date DBS
No?
certificate. And safeguarding I've done within the last 3 years. That was just for adults and children. You know, I did it for the
You were at one
walking.
one you were at quite recently, weren't you? That I attended in St Mildred's, were you?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I did it. I had to do it for the walking.
Okay.
But obviously I won't be updating that, but I do have
So
it
you'll
up
have
to
to
date.
renew your own. Do you do it online now?
You can do them online, most of them. Not all of them can be done online. I think sessions 1 and 2 are necessarily face to
No,
face.
the actual DBS certificate. Can you do that online?
Yes, I think you can.
I
Yes.
think then you don't necessarily have to get getting a new one every 3 years. I think you
Yes.
can just.
Right.
I don't have to get a new one of those every year. That's every 3 years as well. So I think I'm probably coming up to renewing next year.
And also it says all staff, volunteers and counsellors who may have contact with children or adults at risk must undergo appropriate vetting such as DBS checks in accordance.
Yeah.
But I might be in contact as a counsellor with somebody who's at risk, but I'm not going through any specific training and I don't have a valid DBS anymore.
But we can get OTT there. I mean, you can go and sit next to a vulnerable person on the bus, but you don't have to be vetted.
Well, no, but that's what that says. All staff,
And we're all
volunteers and
basically at
counsellors
risk
who
if
may
you think
have
about it.
contact with
Well,
children
that's why
or
I said
adults.
it's OTT,
Yeah, I know.
as so often.
Why would I, as a councillor, have contact with adults at risk?
Because somebody may make a disclosure to you,
I'd refer it immediately.
but you're still having contact with them.
If they come to me, I can't stop somebody, say don't
No,
talk
you
to me.
can't, no.
So what the thing is, we have nominated people who have DBS checks, and the most important thing is to signpost.
I just feel we need to change
That's,
to basically say
that's
that you two are the ones with the training and the checks.
I mean, otherwise,
Not
all
all
councillors
councillors.
should have all training,
Mm.
which obviously we're not going to do.
Well, it seems to be conditional. It says all councillors who have the access.
Mm.
Then it becomes a question of what access means and what is would, if, might, etc., etc. That's where I came in with the silly thing about the bus. I mean, we are not, vulnerable people may approach us, but we are not approaching vulnerable people.
No, I think we're adequately covered, and we owe due thanks to those who've gone through the procedures, taken the trouble to do so.
I mean, I'm just looking at us here. I don't think we're taking any unnecessary risks.
No.
Do we have on our website, I should know it, but I don't, that if there is a situation like this, that we publish the contacts? And your point about KCC Social Services, if we're using our website as a form of information, then we're doing as much as we can.
Yes, the website has only got email addresses now.
Well, but why?
Because
No, I don't mean. Sorry, I don't mean councillors' contact
Right.
details.
Mm.
But what we've got here, be it KCC Social Services or Hourglass, whoever, those contact numbers
on our
put on the website in the same way as it's like Katie Lamb publishes her shopping list of all the key contacts.
yes, because we've got a contact
Yeah,
list.
put that on the contacts. And I think then we've done our bit. And then if, for instance, we suddenly found a situation where somebody said something in a meeting here, we'd all look at you, or you, as our DBS checked people, and the rest of us should stand back and not get involved.
Is Alan, as the designated safeguarding lead, is that published on the website?
Probably not.
I think that would be a good thing to put on there.
Happy with that.
Okay. Moving on.
Did we, it's not on the agenda exactly, did we already review the risk policy, or is
Yes,
this one, we did do
That's,
it?
we did
We
that
did it
last
already.
month.
Okay.
These are two that obviously got added on last year. It's only the second year that we've
Okay.
done this. I picked them up from the agenda from last, which is what I always do, check what we did last year.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Fine, we've had a quotation for felling the dead trees, which we need to do prior to any further works in the cemetery.
Yes,
this
I'll
is
get
something
that.
we can speak about.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes, because that was just the...
So it's a matter of agreeing it and the contractor being ordered to carry it out.
Yes, because we had asked for it so that we were aware of what the sort of money we would need. It was for 4 trees, I'm not sure. And there are 4 dead trees. We can easily identify 3, so it may be slightly less. But
Okay, so we agreed that we should proceed with that work.
Do we know what it is, or is it?
£3,920.64.
I'll remind you, is it a local man?
Yes, Richard Smith.
He's Hastings now, but he's
Yes, yeah.
sort of local.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he knows because he took. He's going to take 2 out next to where he took
Yeah.
some out before.
I think
So-
he's more realistic than some of them, myself.
And he has things. He has the equipment with the caterpillar
Yeah.
things, so his vehicles are better over.
Lower ground pressure.
Yes.
3,920, obviously there's been inflation, that's quite a lot more than the last 4, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, last time
Yes,
I had
these are bigger.
2,000.
Bigger.
They're bigger, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, well, if we could ask him to proceed.
Yeah, because he talked about, he
ASAP.
said at the time September would be the earliest that they would do trees.
Correspondence. the Village Hall Committee have asked for an increase in the fee. From what to
From
what?
£7 an hour to £10 an hour from the 1st of October, which is reduced for local
That's for the period or per hour?
per hour.
Per hour.
So we have it for 2 hours.
Everybody happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
The next one was just for
For
information.
information, yeah.
And obviously their operational pressures in that is our waiting for the quote for the gateway. It's
Yes.
those are the sort of things
Yeah.
that they're trying to get through. That's why they've stopped these extra meetings.
Okay.
So we're still waiting for that.
Item 3. So Jeremy, it looks as though Caretaker's not going to take off. So.
No, I have had a long discussion with her this afternoon, which is when I saw, I didn't look at this earlier, when I saw it now. It will carry on. I don't know how far they got with their target, but not as far as they needed to, and therefore we've had our money.
We haven't had it
It's
back
not
yet.
back, but it will come back, okay.
Check today.
It has been a rather frustrating business. She's had quite a number of councils who have said things to her like, oh yes, we agreed to do it, but we're not sure that we ought to do it until we see whether you get near your target. So of course they didn't get near the target. That includes one council not very far from here, not immediately by us, but not too far away, bigger than us. Anyway, so she didn't meet that target. However, they did get the DEFRA funding confirmed, so that gives them about 40,000. She worked for 114 village halls last year, giving them advice. So, and a number of them are eager to give money. So she will be launching a membership scheme for village halls next, very soon, and hope obviously to get all of them to pay up. And then following that she'll come out with a membership scheme for the parish councils, some of whom of course will join, some of them will not, but it will bring money in. So the trustees are still on board there. She feels that they'll struggle on. She's also got her first set of accounts, which means she can now go to the lottery more positively, although that still takes quite a long time, but they have said that they're keen to give money. So it'll probably scrape through and begin to get going. It's just been rather tortuous. It hasn't been helped by the fact that she had a big tragedy in her family in May, and she does seem, I'm afraid, to attract trouble. When she first started on Kent Acre, she was in hospital for a really serious operation, which she took ages to get over. Now she's just had a really nasty tragedy. So, it just is one thing after another. But she's still going, and hopefully Kent Acre will get into what it should be. It's just desperately slow all the time.
Yes.
Can I just add that the village hall service that was always provided and still is, and I'm very encouraged to hear that, is so important. And personally, I think that KCC lack of support is just unacceptable, because the question to Casey, if Wayne was here, not to him personally, but I would say, come on KCC, talk us through your rural village strategy, because they're not being accountable on that at all. It's just a big gap, and the village hall service that was provided in Acre, are still providing, is absolutely essential. There's nobody else doing it.
Sure.
And at some stage they will approach our own village hall, who don't seem to think there's any value in it. And we might just take the lead on that, I think, as parish council.
I think, picking up from what Paul said, and it reminds me of something else she said, one thing that's good about Kerry, in my opinion, is that she's smart, bright and energetic, so she's coming up with ideas and things they need to do, which I'm coming in the direction of. Whereas I think Paul will know him much better than I did, but I knew him a bit. I don't think her predecessor did. I think that was part of the problem, that he wasn't going out and doing what he had to do.
Purely operational.
Yeah. So one thing is that she was just at a conference in the last, I don't know whether it was a week or 3 weeks ago. She sat next to Tracy Curley, as it happens, who she knows a bit. She's been to see her with me, who's our Chief Executive of Ashford. It was an NHS conference, and it was all about the NHS desire to roll out more services and more outreach to the rural communities. And the point she has very firmly in her mind is, and where have you got to do it? There is only one place, it's the village halls. There is nowhere else. So you look after the village halls and you move them in the right direction, and you have somewhere where you can do NHS outreach with your £240 billion. No village halls, what are you going to do?
Well, you wait and see what happens in churches, I think, going forward.
That's
They're
another
going to
possibility,
become-
which is Giles's idea, of course, as well. Maybe too.
Okay, well, we wish her well in her attempt there. ABC Leaders Briefing number 25.
Yes, I put this on really just to minute because the government have now come out with this new thing. So the Ashford local plan that they were working on, all a waste of time. They're now having to start all over again.
Yeah.
So all the work that was done on site submissions and all that sort of thing is all gone by the board. So I just wanted to put it really on here just so that we've got it when everybody looks back and can see what's happened.
Okay. Clerk's expenses, March to June, we've had those details. Nothing
Expensive.
exceptional.
Sorry?
Expensive.
Yes, because I've got the stamps when they were...
It was all that chairman's allowance stuff.
Yeah, but I got when the check, before the stamps went up. That's why the stamps.
Okay, everyone happy with those?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
do you want me to sign anything or no? We just authorise them. Fine. Caretaker Working Party report.
Right, this is where I got the seat,
Oh yes. Right.
because I reported yesterday.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this came in this afternoon. Unfortunately, I don't have the best news following the assessment. The radar failed multiple tests and will need to be replaced. The cost for the replacement radar is £1,072.50, plus 2 hours of labour, £100. The voltage display in the Paddy case is also not working and will need to be replaced at a cost of £36.50. In addition, the site has sustained significant water damage. The total cost, including the assessment and delivery, is £1,318. I look forward to hearing from you. So there was a photo of the inside of it.
So it was a bit leaky, was it?
Doesn't look very good.
Has it got a bad seal, do you think?
Yeah, possibly, I don't know.
It's not as bad as I feared, because when we originally did it, and it was bought and plus all putting the poles in, it was about 6,000 or 7,000 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it could be worse.
Well, I think we have to do it, don't
Have
we?
to do it.
Yeah.
of course,
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, that's authorised then.
I had to pack it up and it was not an easy piece of equipment because it's heavy and awkward.
Yeah. And on the finance side, we've had monthly transaction statements and the first quarter's budget statement.
There's a little spelling mistake with a defibrillator,
So,
but apart from that. And I was pleased to see I did go and check the
That's
two
spelled properly.
Unity accounts.
Fifibrillator. That's onomatopoeia, I think you call it, isn't it? It sounds rather good.
The two online Unity accounts matched, which I did check this time unusually. But it did strike me, in our last version of the risk assessment thing, the risk, the thing, it said that CCLA were coming up to putting their balances online, and it should be a few months, and that's years ago. Did it ever happen?
don't know, it's something I didn't check.
It may be that we've just never sort of found out about it. What was in the policy before was, this was 2023, the money market deposit is not yet visible online at the time of writing, but the provider anticipates this being made available in the next 3 months. I just wondered when I was looking at it today if it's available.
I should imagine it is, because most banks,
You think so?
they all follow them.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's a good discipline then, because like I say, I just checked the 2 Unity ones today to satisfy myself that you know, just as a reconciliation, it was right. Lloyd's we can't do because we're not on, well, you're online, but you know, we're not. The CCLA one, we ought to have the same thing because that's where most of the money is. In fact, a huge amount, and I did notice that the interest we got from it in 3 months was humongous. It's in the budget, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more than in fact, I would have said it's gone, considering we've got more in there. But it's,
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
yeah, the interest is
It's about 500 and something a month, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm going to move some out now. So.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone happy with the figures
Yep.
as presented? Initials?
Sign, please.
14.
And that one can just be initial because it's just like Everybody happy with the budget statement?
Looks as though you're anticipating budget coming out pretty much as it should. Signature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Right, planning decision received. Okay, it's self-explanatory, the old corner house. And 16th Street, granted. Triben was the one that rather irritates us because he hasn't planted the orchard that he was supposed to.
And that's still down on the
And we can
conditions.
assume we can assume the next lot of conditions won't be adhered to either, but there it is.
There it is, as you say, he's worming his way forward. Rosemary at the orchard, granted. Open spaces,
Nothing
anything
new.
Alan? No?
Yes.
Oh, right, sorry.
Well, only in as much as I had, put it under open spaces because that's where it is. I had an email from Barbara Scott asking if Margot Dixon could hold a yoga class on Coronation Field on Wednesdays as the weather.
Oh, who's Barbara
What's-
Scott?
Barbara Scott lives at Payne's Cottage down there.
She's still there. The Scotts are still there, are they? They're never seen in the village, are they?
I don't know, I do have correspondence with her now and again. Yeah, so she's asked, and she said they'd give a donation to the parish council. Obviously it didn't come in time for the agenda, so I went ahead and said, yes, I didn't see a problem, although she was talking about memorial, the field behind the war memorial, so I said I didn't think the memorial garden was appropriate, but Coronation Field would be okay, and that's where she meant actually.
Well, what's her role in this one?
She obviously goes and knows this person.
Okay.
So this person, perhaps she said, oh, I'll ask him on. So I said as long as it was done at their own risk, or that she was covered by her own insurance. And I said we can't guarantee there'll be no docking. So if everybody's okay with that.
Yes, sounds a nice idea. Okay, public rights away, so.
Nothing, I don't think, apart from the crops are coming off very fast.
That's what I was going to say, we can't walk across through the LC grade now. It's
But
Did you
not
find
on
that
the
tree
footpath
down
to King
that I
Street.
mentioned on the path up from the river?
No, I haven't been down there.
Okay.
There's a great squabble going on next door today, or maybe earlier, but I saw it today, with tons and tons of people piling in. Someone is complaining bitterly about a horse that went along a POW, or it may be a POW, it's not very clear, and pooed. And the person complaining says that the owner should have picked it up.
Well, people often complain about that on the roads.
Yeah,
Well, shouldn't you, if you grow roses, you should be sweeping
Yeah,
back?
yeah.
That's what everybody's going back and saying.
Oh, are they?
Yes, that's what I'm
absolutely
saying.
right. My granddad used to put it on his roses.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yes.
Someone did suggest that the horse should be towing a little wheelbarrow behind it.
Well, some of the ones in London or on beaches or things have their own poo beds attached
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
behind, don't they?
Yeah, the ones towing the royal carriages.
I think sometimes people just forget they live in something called the countryside.
And as a previous owner of horses, I know full well that it's sort of vegetable matter rather than it's not.
That's
Well,
what
they
he
keep
said as
saying
well.
It's not as nasty
Yeah.
as
Keep
as
saying
the-
that, yeah.
Vegetarian.
Yeah, exactly. So, highways, Paul.
Yeah, I noted that the roads have been marked out from the garage up to check a cherry tree farm, but nothing's still been done. It has been marked out. And
Only that I was going back on the website, 28 days for ordinary potholes, but I can't find when I reported it. And is that 28 working days or 28 days? But I'm pretty sure I mentioned it at the last meeting, which must mean it's a month.
oh yeah,
They've also been marked at Top Road as well.
Yes.
On those craters.
something else I wanted to bring to the attention is some of you may know this. There's quite a big petition gathering pace.
Yeah, I saw it today.
They're over 500 signatures
So it's
now.
been on before, because I saw it before.
Well, I won't read it all out, but I urge. I've sort of spread it out to people I know that I'm connected with through Nextdoor and what have you. But it's been, I think, explained very well. But it's basically aimed at Sussex Council, Rother. Is it Rother? Well, no,
Yes.
East Sussex
Well, it's
Council.
East Sussex Council, yeah.
And just saying about they're very cleverly focusing, I think, not just on getting it done properly, but there's an accident prevention on that. But it's caused huge amounts of wear and tear on vehicles, and it's just a disgrace.
And the photos magnify. I mean, they're horrible.
It's awful. The other thing that is causing quite a lot of consternation is if, when, maybe the what's happening in the village. Which days is the Poplar Road closed? Is it top dressing? Is someone coming with a paint pot? Is someone actually research? I mean, it is very, very confusing because it was all geared up for last month.
Well, it's coming twice
And then it was
now.
cancelled, and then
Did it again? It has cancelled.
You haven't heard any more
No.
since? No.
yeah. Well, they were going to do something in July because the sign went up by
Yes.
They've
Carter's.
only gone a Friday and then on the Sunday,
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
they've gone, all the
Yes.
lines.
It's
obviously
Yeah.
too hot.
It's the rumour that Alan has put up the road closed sign so to reduce the traffic by his house is not fair. It's not
But
correct.
it's
It's the
closed-
big hole again that.
Well, the roads are closed at both ends, but you can drive through. So it's a wind down.
Well, it depends.
There's no workman or anything there.
There's nothing
is
there,
there?
no. I drive through.
Well,
Yes,
what, is
yeah,
that the one by
yes.
the railway crossing?
No,
It
well,
goes.
it's closed at the church in Rawdon, and it's closed at the junction in Peony Quarter.
No, what I mean is
The
the
road
actual
sign.
where they're actually doing the work.
It's somewhere midway between.
Yeah,
It's
but have you
done.
tried to go through there?
Yes,
Did you get through?
absolutely. There wasn't any sign of anybody there yesterday.
Well, have they? Oh well, maybe they've repaired the hole because at one stage it was completely blocked.
It
I know,
it
'cause
was,
I couldn't
it-
get
it-
through.
It was, but yesterday
The whole by the
the signs are still up, but the
They've just gone up again.
There
I
was
was
no
going to
sign of any.
say, it's,
Yeah, they went down and then they went up again yesterday.
I've
No,
had
they
notification.
were up.
Mm.
I came back from, I don't know, Flimwell, and I came that way, and it said road closed at Rawdon, but you could get all the way through without any sign of anything or anybody. And that was Monday, yesterday.
Well, today I've had a notification that from yesterday it's closed for 3 days at Ingles.
Yeah, I know, that's the whole house on the left as you go up the hill.
Right, but that's for 3 days, that's what he said.
Because when they weren't working, but at the same time there was an obvious leak further on.
Mm,
You know,
yes.
so you just wondered when they were going to have to come
And
back.
I think it's make it up as you go along, actually.
I'm just drawing attention to the fact that a lot of people locally find it terribly frustrating.
It floats like a yo-yo.
But I mean, it's going to go on being
And
frustrating.
what I
because
try and do is just point them towards Causeway.
I think they've got a whole new department which puts up signs, but they don't tell the workers when they're putting them up and vice versa.
The thing that I was going to mention was this one. I don't know whether anybody's really been my way. This is on by the hospital.
They're cutting off Peas Marsh for a month.
Cutting off, they're cutting
They're,
off
they're me, yes.
Yes.
But it's, yes, so it's from the 15th of July to the 22nd, it's closed overnight from 7:15 to 6:50 in the morning. 23rd of July, it's closed during the day, 9:30 till 3.
And what day is that even?
23rd. So what's today? 14th, 21st.
Thursday or
Friday.
something.
Thursday.
Week on Thursday, yeah.
Oh, just like the market.
And then 7th of the 8th, it's the same during the day. 8th, on the 9th of August, it's overnight. And then on the 25th of September, it's overnight. But they've got two separate. This is for my one at the top of my road, but they're doing the hill as well.
By the pub.
Well, I would imagine it's going to be from when the Peace and Plenty was up to, because there's one there at the junction, probably up to top of the hill, well, King's Head, and then probably the hill. I don't know. There's a different dates at the bottom of the hill.
But there's also the bit towards Jempson's as well. There's in Peas Marsh. There's another yellow notice. I don't think the dates are the same.
No, the same Rye Hill's not the same as this, so it's a case of wait and see. I shall go down tomorrow night and
but it's nothing like as bad there as why aren't they doing
towards
us, you know?
This is the road surface stuff to keep it nice. I just thought this was just for interest, right, in case anybody's coming my way.
Okay, thank you for that. Cemetery Churchyard will come to.
Yes, only that this came today. ICCM have sent out a new certificate as we're a corporate member. They've redone their certificates, so we sent that today.
Same price.
Sorry, same price.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. Nice to have.
You can put that on your wall.
So, no meeting in August, next meeting 8th of September. Items for information. You were informed of the
Yes, there was
activities.
swimming activities. Even Bridge Fishing Club rang me.
Yeah.
Just wanted was the parish council aware of all the swimming and the dangerous and all the rest of it down there? Someone's going to get hurt. They didn't expect us to do anything about it. They just wanted us to know that it was happening.
Be aware. Fine. You went to a meeting with Sally on the footpath volunteers.
I'll let Yvonne tell you because I haven't refreshed my memory and I've been reading the wrong agenda all day, so...
It was interesting.
Yes.
The meal was nice. Over lunch, they had little mini baguettes, wasn't it?
So it was a thank you, really, wasn't it?
No, it was that they have these meetings probably twice a year because we went to the previous one. For the first one, I got invited as a Sussex Ram because I'm a member of the Sussex Ramblers, and it was when they were talking about the solar panels and things. So I got, but they've sent it out to all the parish councils as an invite as well. So that's when I thought Sally might like to come. So we both went last time. Yes, it was interesting. They had the KCC, Graham Reisling. He was the top chap there. He has now retired, so he gave us stories of his life as a footpath. I think he started off as a warden and went through, and we met his replacement, who is Colin from Deernala. one in Finch, a younger chap. So yes, it's more of an information thing really, wasn't it?
Mm.
But interesting. Oh, the
Last time we had British Railways, didn't we?
Yes.
This year we had the British Horses.
I was going to say,
about
yeah.
bridleways and things like that.
Yeah. Yes. So that's that.
Okay, good. Calc training on mastering planning applications.
Yes, that's one that had to pay for that one.
Mm.
It was useful. They've got useful pointers for responding for councillors, called 8 steps for councillors on the NALCWEL website. So I was going to look that up and see if it's useful to pass on to you.
Sure.
And obviously, once again, the government are changing things in as much as you've probably already picked up that not so many planning applications will go to committee. It'll be just the big ones, so it will be planning officers will be making most of the decisions, but a senior planning officer will sign them off, so it won't be each planning officer making that. It will all still have to go in front of.
I think that's quite important for us because most of the planning applications
Yes,
we're
we'll
dealing with
do
are
that.
small,
Yes,
and
we'll go that.
it's. I can understand why they're doing it for obvious reasons, but it is slightly worrying because I'm aware of in the past planning officers making very subjective decisions. My next door neighbour's original plans were turned down by a planning officer because he thought the design was a bit brutal, to quote. Well, that's just nothing to do with planning at all. So I think it puts more emphasis on the parish council to kind of get into the actual plan and decide whether they want to support it or not, because it's going to be one person's decision.
Yes, so those, yeah.
And just in fairness to our
Yes, so I think
our
I can
residents.
find those 8 steps that they thought would be useful for you.
It is worrying when they consistently say they have great difficulty in recruiting planning officers with any experience.
They said that councils should have a robust procedure in place if extensions are needed. But we've never had a problem, and I've never had a problem with Ashford. They've
With
always
asking
been.
for it.
Yes, if we can't, I've always asked for an extension, and they've always come back. And so it's not quite so bad. So yes, so it was interesting. It was a nice
Well
one.
done for going.
Good. You had a webinar,
Yes,
Digital AGAR.
yes, that was yesterday. And that was yesterday morning.
What's AGAR stand for?
That's the annual governance thing that we all had to, we missed signing.
Yes. Yeah.
Had to sign. Yes, it's going digital, so you should be able to do it all online, although they will still need a wet signature, so it's still going to have to be printed off and then signed at the meeting and then scanned, obviously to send to them. But all the rest should be able to do it online. We can practice on it from autumn. He did go through, the chap was something to do with the SLCC, and he went through each item on it, just like we did last month. They're doing an incentive for parish councils to do it next year, and I got the impression that the incentive is that they will repay the audit fee. So that could be
valuable.
Yes.
Pay for the stamp.
So yes, and then the staff costs will be added into payments, whereas before it was separated out. But they thought that wasn't right, they should have that. There'll be a new code of practice for the internal auditor, because they feel that the internal auditor should be someone like David, who has come, whenever his report has gone through all that he should do, instead of somebody that just checks the accounts. So, I mean, what David has done, but it does make it more difficult finding somebody who is willing to do that.
And as we know, we may have to find someone before too long. So
That is a problem.
Well, as soon as David indicates he really will be out after, let's say, next year's audit, we should work at that, shouldn't we? Work at finding a successor. any contacts any of us may have, or advertising, or whatever, because we can't be left without an internal auditor. So,
No, we can't.
and
As
it's,
they're getting the internal auditor to be responsible for more and more, and the external auditor in reality does less and less, I think that they are pushing it in the direction where, as other councils sometimes do, although I don't approve of it really, we're going to have to pay the internal auditor. We're entitled to pay them, and maybe we'll have to. Because once upon a time, the internal auditor checked the bank reconciliations and made sure the receipts were there, and that was about it. Now they're being asked to go through all the policies and see if we're doing them and all the rest of it. While the one on the other end of AGAR looks at 6 figures which don't add up to anything worth mentioning and says, oh, that's all right. And you've ticked all the yeses, that's all right then. And we pay a load for that.
Yes, and there's just one thing I wanted to bring in that once again only came in yesterday, and this was from Jane Beach, who was asking for parish council support, well, discussed actually. I am emailing concerning the parking situation in Forge Meads. In the evening from about 6 p.m. until early in the morning, there are cars parked on the pavement on both sides of the road and on the corner, causing a hazard and a blockage. How an emergency vehicle such as a fire engine will get through at night, I really don't know. Obviously during the day, when many of the vehicle owners are at work, the problem is not as bad. It desperately needs some more parking bays put in, with family these days having 2 or more cars per household. Could it be discussed at the parish council meeting? Well, I explained that it's not really parish council and she needs to get in touch with Ashford Borough Council. But I had a feeling that, well, we thought this would come from, because it's the same problem.
Yeah.
Well, be another ice cream party.
That's right, yes.
Meet
Hang on to
residents.
that chair.
Absolutely.
So I did it, yes, so that's what I've explained.
Yeah, I mean, have you drawn her attention to the meeting that's happening in the
No.
other place? It might be
No,
interesting for her. You don't get it.
Small extra item under information. I did look up today. There's still no news on the local government reorganisation for Kent. Now, of course, they did say they'd tell us.
17th.
It's tomorrow, isn't it?
Is there an actual date now?
I thought it was the 7th.
It
I
just
thought it
said later this month or in the summer.
Friday?
Yes, it's any day, it's by the end of this
End
week.
of this week.
Oh, right, okay. It was end of July, and then, as I say, I looked on the government website today.
Yeah.
I think it was government, and it said, well, not yet.
Oh, well, they did mention it, didn't they?
There's a thing on next door again about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, yes, it is imminent.
It'll be in the new Prime Minister's intro on Monday. Then down in the grass.
You won't get to the World Cup at this rate.
No. Fine. Anything else parish council wise before we close the meeting and move into?
Is there any news on the new editor of the parish magazine?
Yeah, I'm treading very softly there. I mean, Coos is still in touch with a lady who didn't want to do it on her own and has managed to find somebody else to do it with. And so all is not lost by any means, but I don't push him too hard, but he must be aware, as we are, that he was bowing out in August, and
so
the next issue is due in September. So preparation will have to be made during this month, and touch wood. I mean, there's been no other sign of interest from anybody, and it would be wonderful if it could work. So touch wood.
Have you had any opportunity to make progress on the War Memorial paving?
No.
I'll just leave that with you again then.
Leave it with me, with everything else.
No, I sympathise.
Okay.
Take August off.
It'll be 2 years soon.
Okay, can
Thank
we
you, Jeremy.
now close the meeting and turn the